Let us pray. I'm a mighty and eternal God, who through Jesus Christ has revealed your glory to all nations. Please protect and preserve Belize, our beloved country. God of might, wisdom, and justice, please assist our Belizean government and people with your Holy Spirit of counsel and fortitude. Let the light of your divine wisdom direct their plans and endeavors, so that with your help we may attain our just objective. With your guidance, may all our endeavors tend to peace, social justice, liberty, national happiness, the increase of industry, sobriety, and useful knowledge. We pray, O God of mercy, for all of us, that we may be blessed in the knowledge and sanctified in the observance of your most holy law, that we may be preserved in union in that peace which the world itself cannot give. And after enjoying the blessings of this life, please admit us, dear Lord, to the eternal reward that you have prepared for those who love you. Amen.
Announcement by the Speaker.
Good morning, honorable members. I want to welcome you all to today's sitting of the House of Representatives. I am sure it is an honor for all of us to be here today. It is with much gratitude that I announce the endorsement from the Ministry of Home Affairs and New Growth Industries, the Children's Parliament Bill 2021 on the Criminal Code. The bill speaks to abetting a child and seeks to change under Chapter 4. A person who commits an offense under this section is liable on summary conviction to imprisonment for a term of 2 years or on indictment to imprisonment for a term of 5 years. However, this new bill seeks to change the following: summary conviction for a term of 5 years or on indictment to imprisonment for a term of 7 years. Before we start today's meeting, I would like to draw your attention to Standing Orders 37 on interruptions, 38 on content of speeches, and 44 on order of the House. Members are reminded that the official language of the Parliament is English, and that a member who is on his or her feet speaking should only be interrupted on a legitimate point of order by another member who should clearly state specifically his or her point of order. My ruling on the point of order is final. Honorable members, I thank you for your support and cooperation.
Introduction of the bill.
I recognize the Honorable Minister of Human Development, Families and Indigenous Peoples Affairs.
Bill has the recommendation of the Cabinet.
Honorable members, that bill is referred to the Health and Human Development Committee for examination, consideration, and report.
Bill for an act to provide for the prohibition of solemnization of child marriages and to provide for matters connected therewith or incidental thereto.
Honorable members, that bill is referred to the Health and Human Development Committee for examination, consideration, and report. I recognize the Honorable Minister of Human Development, Families and Indigenous Peoples Affairs.
Madam Speaker, in accordance with Standing Order number 49, I move that the bill be taken through all its
Honorable members, the question is that the next stages of the bill be taken forthwith. All those in favor, kindly say aye. Those against, kindly say no. I think the ayes have it.
Motions relating to the business or sitting of the House.
I recognize the Honorable Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, Economic Development and Investment.
Madam Speaker, I move that at its rising today, the House adjourn to a date to be fixed by the Speaker.
Honorable members, The question is that the House, at its rising today, adjourn to a date to be fixed by the Speaker. All those in favor, kindly say aye. Those against, kindly say no. I think the ayes have it.
Announcement by the Speaker.
Honorable members, it has been agreed that the Prohibition of Child Marriage Bill 2023 pass this day. As you may be aware, under Standing Order number 74, all proposed legislation, messages, petitions, motions, and other matters relating to the subject mentioned under the title of each standing committee shall be referred by the House to such committee for examination, consideration, and report to the House. The way for this to be done, other than by suspension of standing orders, is for me to suspend the sitting to enable the Health and Human Development Committee to examine, consider, and report to the House on the bill. All those in favor, kindly say aye. Those against, kindly say no. I think the ayes have it. The sitting is therefore suspended until the Health and Human Development Committee has concluded its business.
Presentation of report from Select Committee.
I recognize the Honorable Chairperson of Health and Human Development Committee.
Madam Speaker, I rise to lay on the table report number HR 114, report from the Health and Human Development Committee on the Prohibition of Child Marriage Bill 2023.
Honorable members, that report is ordered to lie on the table.
Bill for second reading.
I recognize the Honorable Minister of Human Development, Families, and Indigenous Peoples Affairs.
Madam Speaker, I move the second reading of a bill for an act to provide for the prohibition of solemnization of child marriages and to provide for matters connected therewith or incidental thereto. Madam Speaker, as the bill is moved to second reading, I would like to present. Good day, Madam Speaker, honorable members, media, and present guests. Madam Speaker, may I refer to my notes? I, Minister of Human Development, stand before you today as the voice of the 7.5 dedicated voters in Belize Rural Central. I stand before you all in this House to advocate a crucial piece of legislation, a bill that seeks to prohibit child marriages by raising the legal age of marriage from 16 to 18 years. This amendment aims to rectify an outdated law, the Marriage Amendment Act of 2005, which has inadvertently perpetuated cycles of poverty, domestic violence, and lack of education across our great nation. Marriage, Madam Speaker, is fundamentally a contract, and it is with a heavy heart that I address the harsh reality that minors, due to their limited experience and understanding, are ill-equipped to enter into binding contracts of any kind. Madam Speaker, if our youths are deemed ineligible to vote for their leaders, it raises the question of whether they possess the knowledge and maturity to make life-altering decisions through marriage. The leaders of this country must no longer stand idly as misguided commitments to early marriage jeopardize the future of our youths. Belize currently faces one of the highest child marriage rates in the Caribbean, with 20.8% girls and 10.7% boys entering into unions before the age of 18. This dire situation has contributed to an alarming 51% increase in adolescent birth. Madam Speaker, if the children of these minors overcome possible complications that's more than likely to occur during childbirth, how does one 16-year-old bear the responsibilities of maintaining a child? Are we going to continue to be deliberately ignorant to the possibility that these minors could soon then be one of the 35.7% of Belizeans living in poverty? Madam Speaker, legal child marriage is a thief to adolescent probable prosperity and potential. Child marriage is not just a legal issue. It's a matter of human rights and a form of gender-based violence, as eloquently stated by Pearl Stewart. It often emerges from cultural beliefs and influence of close-minded relatives, depriving children of their basic human rights to freedom, security, education, and a voice. The cause these youths to bear disproportionate burdens, leading to severe mental health consequences. The question, Madam Speaker, is whether we are willing to make the difference that these young girls desperately need, or will we once again neglect the well-being of our citizens due to narrow-mindedness? Gender conventions and household obligations, along with stigma and other hurdles to education, often lead young girls to drop out of school when they get married. Madam Speaker, I urge our government leaders to acknowledge the core of these pressing issues and understand that behind all the other complex factors, it all narrows down to the law that was implemented in 2005. Our country's government leaders' foremost duty is to ensure the safety of our citizens. And with this amendment, we seek to safeguard the rights and security of our children. In conclusion, it's time for us to take a decisive action. This bill provides a proper middle ground and that balances between tradition and the safeguarding of our children's future and rights while granting the freedom they most definitely have as legal adults. We can set new course for our nation, paving the way for a brighter, more prosperous Belize. Thank you.
I recognize the Honorable Leader of the Opposition.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Good day, Madam Speaker and honorable members of the House. Madam Speaker, may I refer to my notes? Madam Speaker, I rise to oppose the bill that's being proposed and to modify it to help benefit the country, because I believe that the bill currently stated is not beneficial for our Belizean society. To start off, I would like the ruling party to tell us who are the people crying to raise the legal age of marriage from 16 to 18. Our Belizean society has remained functional with this as is. So I ask today, Madam Speaker, where are the Belizeans who are fighting for the change of our country's law on this? Or is this a law created by our government for themselves? I understand what the ruling party is trying to convey, but I feel that the change they are trying to make will not impact the Belizean people for good. Changing the marriage age from 16 to 18 will rarely cause a significant effect upon our Belizean society. If a change must happen, the opposition agrees, for it could indeed be a change that will positively affect our country. However, if a person marries at the age of 18, the person will suffer the same effects if he or she marries at the age of 16. So what changes would this bill make if people are still not stable financially, mentally, or even physically at the age of 18? In addition, I am outraged by the ruling party's proposition for this change, since they had no consideration of our melting pot of cultures when creating this bill. To conclude, Madam Speaker, I am not only speaking for my constituency, Mesopotamia, but I am speaking for our country when I say that the legal age of marriage should change from 16 but not to 18. It should be changed to 21. Our country could benefit from these changes and not suffer under the consequences. This is the reason why I oppose the bill at its current form. Thank you very much.
I recognize the Honorable Prime Minister.
Good day, Madam Speaker, honorable members of the House, and fellow viewers. I would like you all to imagine this. Imagine a young girl, not even old enough to vote, entering a lifetime commitment without thorough observation and investigation. This is the issue that we're currently facing, child marriage, an issue that often remains in the shadows, affecting the lives of countless young individuals worldwide. Madam Speaker, may I refer to my notes? Scientific evidence from the National Institutes of Health proves that 18-year-olds are more mentally, emotionally, and psychologically able to handle the turn of marriages and potential parenthood. The current legal age of marriage in Belize is 16 years. Firstly, child marriage increases the likelihood of teenage pregnancies, which come with higher health risks for both the mother and the child. Secondly, teenagers often find difficulties in supporting themselves, let alone a family, due to their limited education and job chances. This places financial pressure on them, increasing financial hardships and potential failure in their relationships. Thirdly, teenage parenthood can bring along discrimination and social isolation, which worsens the emotional and mental stress that teenagers experience, especially when they're already dealing with unemployment, limited education, and childcare responsibilities. Additionally, postpartum depression may affect mothers, which in turn may lead to neglect, abandonment, and in extreme cases, the death of an innocent child. Not only mothers face the risk of domestic violence, but children are also at risk of abuse by frustrated parents who lack the necessary coping skills. Changing the age of marriage without addressing the age of consent may not be a wise decision, as teenagers can still become parents at a young age. So we must also take into consideration age of consent. A recent study conducted by the Girls Not Brides in April 2023 revealed that 34% of females are married or in union before the age of 18 and 6% before the age of 15. 15 years old. Among males, 22% are married or in union before the age of 18 and 5% before the age of 15. These numbers only highlight a portion of the population affected by child marriage. Madam Speaker, as the representative of Orange Walk Central, I wholeheartedly support raising the legal age of marriage in our country from 16 to 18 years. I urge each one of you to join this cause. By doing so, we can protect the well-being of our youth, reduce the occurrence of child marriage, reduce the occurrence of teenage pregnancy, and ensure a brighter future for our nation. Thank you.
I recognize the Honorable Member for Lake Independence.
Good day, Madam Speaker and honorable members of the House. Let me begin by reciting a poem that I wrote titled Child Marriages. Children getting married can result in babies being carried, or families on the street, and a fate so unsweet. Youths marrying in their teens can result in lost dreams. And do you know what this means? It is more than what it seems. Forced, arranged, early or situations. This is a big issue in our nation. And I know it's hard to believe. But is this what we want for Belize? Madam Speaker, may I refer to my notes? This bill can bring about very positive results. The reason as to why children marriages occur can be either premeditated by the couple or this decision can be done by someone else. This is an unbearable thing to happen. And even if these adolescents do agree to marry, it can only be at the legal age of 16 under the Belize Marriage Act 2011, which states that individuals can be married at age 16 with parental or judicial consent. However, a child getting married has its disadvantages. One of these disadvantage factors is the inability to an entitlement to own a land property unless the land property is in the trust of him or her and is 18 years old. This means that the parents or guardians must be responsible for that land until the individual is 18 years or above. And if that is the case, where will these married adolescents stay? It could be that they have to live with the parents or guardians of the individuals, or that they must find a place to stay. This also leads us to another factor. Children who are married may not be taken into their parents' or guardians' home all the time, and therefore these adolescent couples may land squat, which is illegal in Belize according to the National Lands Act Chapter 191 of the Laws of Belize. This is also a very serious issue because these adolescents need a place for a home and therefore squat illegally on plots of land. Also, with the price of a few natural resources such as sugar, citrus, fruits and water, and other essential needs raising sky high, people need to have a very stable or high income to get their basic needs and nutrition. And if a child marries and bears under the age of 18 and bears a child themselves, this causes a great issue and a concern for the well-being of these children. So, after my stated factors, these are my final notes. A child under the age of 18 may suffer from the lack of essential natural resources, land ownership, and a place to call home if they marry under the age of 18. There are many youths marrying before they reach the age of 18, and many are unaware of what can happen. Let us take a stand to pass this bill. The Marriage Persons Act, the legal age of marriage be changed from 16 years to 18 years. Thank you.
I recognize the Honorable Member for Corozal North.
Good day, Madam Speaker and other members of the House. Madam Speaker, may I refer to my notes? Protocol established. I oppose the bill for the legal age of marriage to be the age of 16 in its current form, and rather for it to be raised to the age of 21. While the notion of marriage is an important aspect to our culture and tradition, I firmly believe that increasing the legal age of marriage is a progressive step towards safeguarding the rights and well-being of our youth. The current legal age for marriage is 16, which in fact is amongst the lowest in the world. This has raised considerable concerns about the potential for early and forced marriages, especially amongst our young Belizean girls. We have the chance to safeguard the rights of our young people, guarantee their well-being, and most importantly, promote a more just society by raising the legal age to 21. The main goal of raising the legal age of marriage is to empower people to make free and conscious decisions about their lives. Many 16-year-olds might not have the emotional development or life experience necessary to commit to such an important act. In addition, increasing the marriage age to 21, we provide young people with the time and space needed to mature, complete their education, and develop a better understanding of what a lifelong partnership entails. This modification complies with the international human rights norms, including the Convention on the Rights of the Child and the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. These accords place a strong emphasis on the necessity of defending young people's rights, of promoting their well-being, and guaranteeing their freedom to make life decisions. A considerable contribution to gender equality can be made by raising the legal age of marriage as well as to protect individual rights. Furthermore, young girls are disproportionately affected by early and forced marriages, which frequently keep them in a cycle of poverty with less opportunity for education and poor economic prospects. On top of requiring individuals to be at least 21 before they can legally marry, We empower young women to pursue their education and personal development, thereby reducing the gender gap and enabling them to lead more fulfilling lives. In conclusion, Madam Speaker, raising the legal age for marriage in Belize from 16 to 21 is a significant step towards protecting the rights and well-being of our youth, promoting gender equality, and fostering a more robust and equitable society. I leave you all with this burning question. Would you want your child's life to be ruined by child marriage? Thank you.
I recognize the honorable member for Freetown.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Good morning, Madam Speaker and honorable members, invited guests and viewers. Madam Speaker, may I refer to my notes? I strongly believe that the minimum age for marriage should be moved from 16 to 18. As a result, children would have 2 more years to continue their education and at least finish high school. It is incredibly important in this booming economy that the children are well educated. They are the future of this economy and country. They must be as knowledgeable as possible with a minimum of a high school diploma. Child marriage is a relationship or union of a partnership between 2 children that are below 18 years of age. It is one of the primary issues for children's rights in Belize, as 20% of girls and 10% of boys aged between 15 and 19 are married, and 29% of women currently between 20 and 29 are married. The reason behind this is a gender inequality, extreme poverty, lack of education, old cultural traditions, and economic opportunities. Teen age is an age of learning, acquiring knowledge and skills for individuals' mental and psychological development. Child marriage completely disrupts the child's mental strength and hinders their cognitive abilities and skills. For a female, getting married at a young age and becoming pregnant can lead to a slew of issues that endanger both the mother and the child's lives. Males who marry at a young age must find work in order to support their families. Now, if they are 16 and have an unfinished high school diploma, you can imagine how difficult it would be for that person to find work. No one would want to hire someone with no education, prior experience, or let alone a high school dropout. Freetown is one of the fastest developing constituencies with education as its backbone, resulting in low child marriage rate. This leads to the conclusion that child marriage violates a child's fundamental rights, and if immediate action is not taken, parents will continue to force their children to obey traditional practices of early marriage, resulting in a child's life becoming more complicated. As Minister of Education, Culture, Science and Technology, I take in consideration of Belize's melting pot of cultures. However, a child's right must never be constricted, and marriage takes that away. The age of adulthood and voters is 18, which marks the start of adulthood. Under the circumstance, the bill is changed from marital age from 18 to 21. We must take in consideration that 19, 20 and 21-year-olds are not considered children according to the Interpretation Law, Chapter 1, Section 3.1 defines an adult as anyone who has attained the age of 18 years. To summarize, the child marriage age should be raised from 16 to 18 to give children more time to understand the concept of marriage and become more mature in their ways. Most importantly, so that they can obtain at least a high school diploma, which would encourage them to pursue further education for a better career. Education is the first step towards success and the foundation of every career. Thank you.
I recognize the honorable member for Collett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me the floor. May I refer to my notes? Ladies and gentlemen, today I stand before you to address a pressing issue that demands our collective attention and action: the prohibiting of child marriage in Belize. As we discuss the future of our nation, we cannot overlook the impact of this practice on the well-being and potential of our young citizens. Firstly, child marriage, a cycle of limited education opportunities hindering the personal and intellectual growth of our youth. By allowing young girls and young boys to marry before completing their education, we are denying them the chance to fulfill their academic potential and contribute meaningfully to our society. Education is the foundation upon which thriving communities is built, and we must prioritize this for the sake of our children's future. According to the 2015 mixed survey, 1 in 5 girls, 20.8%, and 1 in 10 boys, 10.7%, aged from 15 to 19 years were currently married or in union. Imagine this. A young girl with dreams of becoming a doctor, a teacher, or engineer. These aspirations, however, can often be cut short by the chains of child marriage. We rob our youth of the opportunity to explore their talents and their aspirations, and that contributes to the progress of our community. Education opens many doors, a world of possibilities, and denying our children this right undermines the very essence of our collective future. Moreover, child marriage not only disrupts formal education, but also a cycle of ignorance and limited awareness. By prioritizing the education of our youth, we empower them with the knowledge and skills needed to make informed decisions about their lives. Education is not just a means of secure employment. It is a tool for empowerment, a pathway, and a way of critical thinking, and a key to breaking the chains of social norms. In conclusion, let us unite as a community to address and eradicate child marriage in Belize, with a steadfast commitment to prioritizing education. By doing so, we not only protect the rights and aspirations of our youth, but also pave the way for a future where every child has the opportunity to thrive academically and contribute significantly to the progress of our beloved constituency and a nation as a whole. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
I recognize the honorable member for Orange Walk South.
Good morning, Madam Speaker, parliamentarians, and fellow viewers. Madam Speaker, may I please refer to my notes? Thank you. Madam Speaker, I rise today to register my full support for the Marriage Persons Bill being brought to the House today. This bill seeks to increase the legal age of marriage from 16 to 18 years. To begin with, Madam Speaker, and I speak from the years of experience of being around my constituents in Orange Walk South and around other parts of the country. For decades, our rural and urban societies have been battling with teenage pregnancy due to early unions and child marriage. As Dr. Babatunde Osatimen once said, and I quote, "Child marriage is an appalling violation of human rights and robs girls of their education, health, and long-term prospects. A girl who is married as a child is one whose potential will not be fulfilled. Since many parents and communities also want the very best for their daughters, we must work together and end child marriage." End of quote. According to statistics by Girls Not Brides as of 2020, 16% of women with no education were married before the age of 18, compared to 2% of women who held higher education. For girls between the ages of 15 to 19 who are currently married, 26 completed primary education as their highest level of study, 20% secondary education, and 18% higher education. Analyzing the statistics, we can clearly see that early marriage robs young girls from a proper education and puts them at a disadvantage when it comes to them having a chance at entering the workforce. Not only does early marriage affect adolescents academically, but also health-wise. Not being fully developed and getting pregnant at an early age can lead to risks such as early childbirth and potentially maternal and infant mortality. The road to end child marriage and early unions in Belize addresses these detrimental practices by concentrating on females and adopting a comprehensive strategy across sectors. A girl's education is deemed a strategic development priority in the roadmap because females with greater levels of education often have fewer children, marry later in life, engage more in the formal labor market, and are overall healthier. Madam Speaker, kindly allow me to share a very tragic incident that occurred in my constituency. Juanita's mom gave birth to her at the tender age of 15. Due to her parents' strong religious beliefs, Juanita's mom was forced into marriage at that young age. After a couple years in an abusive and emotionless relationship, Juanita's mother realized that the marriage was not working out. When Juanita was almost 2 years old, she was left with her grandparents since her mom had to go to the US to have a means of income. While her mom was in the US, she formed a second family, leaving young Juanita with any substantial financial support other than the meager income that her aged grandfather could make from the small farming he did. Throughout her first 14 years of life, Juanita felt unloved and unappreciated. All Juanita wanted was to celebrate her 15 años, a popular celebration among her peers and in the community. Her last straw was when her 15th birthday was drawing closer and she realized that nothing was being planned and nothing would have been planned because of her grandparents' financial situation. In her desperation and disappointment, Juanita believed that her only solution was to commit suicide. She decided to do so by hanging herself off a beam from a bedroom she shared with her grandparents. Her death was not instant. Rather, she was left in a coma for about 2 weeks and then passed away. I am sure, Madam Speaker, that we can all agree that the loss of a fellow young and promising Belizean should not be due to early marriages and its consequences that result from these relationships. This is why I, a representative of Orange Walk South, fully support this bill. Thank you.
I recognize the honorable member for Albert.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise to make my intervention on this very important and timely bill. This bill, the Prohibition of Child Marriage Act, which proposes to change the legal age of marriage from 16 to 18 years, is long overdue. In my constituency, 60% of the population are youth, and therefore this bill is of utmost importance. First and foremost, marriage has a great impact in our society, but unfortunately, it is not for boys and girls. By nature, besides being legal, it also has emotional, spiritual, and even physical implications. By nature, marriage is a great responsibility and commitment, a lifetime commitment. Marriage requires maturity and consciousness. Now, children lack the skill, knowledge, and job prospect needed to lift the family. Furthermore, I would like to emphasize that the family is considered the cornerstone of society. And although there are other unions that constitute a family, marriage is the only legal one, and thus it is paramount to ensure that it be appropriate, effective, and favorable. Madam Speaker, with your permission, I would like to refer to my notes. According to Joe Jenkins in Contemporary Moral Issues, boy and girl marriages are more prone to result in poverty, economic instability, domestic violence, and a greater incidence of children having children. In addition, child brides are at a greater risk of experiencing dangerous complications during pregnancy and childbirth. Children having children can be counterproductive to our society, as it may have far-reaching negative impact. For this reason, Madam Speaker, I support this proposal and would further suggest that the legal age of marriage be raised to 21 years. Finally, I make a call to the ruling party to consider the diverse beliefs and cultures in the Belizean society and to use their authority and capabilities to educate parents, children, and other stakeholders on this pressing issue through the school curriculum, workshops, and any other means, but to not only bring awareness, but most importantly, to help them embrace this initiative, even when it may require a shift in culture. I am very certain, Madam Speaker, that this change will prove beneficial and will definitely bring an array of positive outcomes to the Belizean society. Thank you.
I recognize the Honorable Member for Kaya South.
Sorry. Good morning, Madam Speaker and esteemed members of the House. Madam Speaker, with your permission, I would like to passionately address my notes. Thank you. Today, I stand before you as an unwavering advocate for the vibrant Kaya South constituency, throwing my wholehearted support behind the Prohibition of Child Marriage Bill 2023. This bill is not just a glimmer of hope, it is a monumental leap towards safeguarding the well-being and future of our youth in Belize. It symbolizes our collective commitment as a nation to obliterate the practice that allows individuals as young as 16 into the lifelong commitment of marriage. The 2020 article, Belize, Girls Not Brides, by the Girls Not Brides Global Movement, brings attention to the urgent problem of child marriage and early union, CMEU, in Belize. It reveals alarming statistics indicating that 34% of Belizean women marry or enter unions before the age of 18, with 6% marrying before the age of even 15, Madam Speaker, emphasizing the significant impact on young lives. It doesn't only state these statistics, but rather it shouts it from the rooftops. This article further underscores that amongst girls between the ages of 15 to 19, CMEU was most common among girls of Mayan descent, 27%, Creole, 21%, and Mestiza Spanish Latina, 21%. These are the majority of cultures that can be found within Kaya South, Madam Speaker. These statistics are not just concerning. They are a blaring alarm, a call to action. The root causes of this troubling phenomenon are deeply entwined with oppressive gender norms, archaic arranged marriages, and alarmingly low education levels. These are pressing issues that demand our immediate, unwavering attention and action. I would like to emphasize the monumental positive impact that supporting the 2023 Prohibition of Child Marriage Bill will have on my constituency. Kaya South comprises 13 villages with a substantial Hispanic migrant population, heavily reliant on agriculture. Women in these communities often grapple with stifling traditional roles that shackle their access to education and personal growth from a tender age. Supporting this bill provides these women and girls with the golden key to unlock their potential and break free from the chains of arranged marriages. Before I conclude, Madam Speaker, I implore you, as well as everyone here, to imagine being 16, an age where most are still navigating the tumultuous waters of high school and adolescence. An age where we are meant to be charting the course for our future, not binding ourselves to a lifetime commitment. We cannot allow this injustice to persist. It is an overwhelming notion, one that should make every heart in this room beat with righteous fury. In closing, I passionately urge all my fellow members to rise up, to rally behind this bill, and to make history. It is not just a bill, it is a battle cry, an opportunity to champion the rights and well-being of the next generation. As the infamous former French Emperor Napoleon once said, the world suffers not because of the violence of bad people, but because of the silence of good people. Let us not be silent on this matter. Let us, as the government, stand up and make a thunderous, resounding difference. Thank you, Madam Speaker, as well as everyone here for your unwavering attention.
I recognize the honorable member for Belize, Russell.
Good day, Madam Speaker and fellow members, everyone in the audience and our online spectators. Today we sit here to fight for children's rights and Belizean rights in a union. Belize has consistently advocated for children's rights throughout the years and will continue to do so. So regardless of the outcome of this sitting, we can all confidently state that it is not only in great regard for our children, but will also better off our country. Madam Speaker, may I refer to my notes? Though I do believe this bill will help our children, there is one question that shall remain, a question that is not being asked, and the very reason I, on behalf of my constituency, Belize Rural South, cannot agree to this bill in its present form, but shall propose an amendment. How will this help our future? I shall reference what Cambridge Dictionary refers to as mature, and I quote, to become developed mentally, emotionally, and behave in a responsible way, end quote. As Belize's law states, 18-year-olds are considered legal adults, capable of legal consequence, legal drinking, voting, and even buying a house. But does that make them mature? Say you are able to purchase a home after turning 18. Does that, however, imply that you know how to keep it maintained, that you had a strategy before purchasing it, a backup plan in the event that your income declines and you can no longer pay your water bill or your power bill? This will be aided by the 3 years I agreed to after becoming an adult-in-law will help to avoid marital strain, enable our children to make plans, achieve the financial security, develop the mental and emotional stability they need in order to excel before marriage. Marriage is more complicated than buying a house, but you must be mentally prepared to do so. And that is why, Madam Speaker, I believe that the legal age to marry should be 21 years of age and not 18, to give our fellow youths the privilege to make this plan and not rush marriage, regardless of their emotions, but to use their brains to become the responsible citizens Belize needs in order for us to flourish and grow into something great. Thank you.
I recognize the honorable member for Stan Creek West.
Good day, Madam Speaker and honorable members. Madam Speaker, may I refer to my notes? Madam Speakers and members of the House, today I stand before you to discuss a pivotal piece of legislation that has the power to reshape the lives of young kids in our nation. Now, first of all, what is a child? According to UNICEF, a child is any person under the age of 18. Besides having rights, children also have the responsibilities and duties at home. These include helping to do household chores, studying, asking parents for permission, maintaining a good relationship with their siblings, etc. Adult responsibilities typically include financial management, maintaining a household, holding employment, and contributing to the welfare of the family. These tasks often require a level of maturity, experience, and autonomy that is distinct from the responsibilities appropriate for children. A child's primary focus should be on growth, education, and well-being, not shouldering the weight of adult responsibilities. By raising the minimum age of marriage to 18, we ensure that our children can be children before they become spouses. It was stated before that changing the age from 16 to 18 would rarely cause a significant effect. So because the situation is weird, we should ignore the responsible and mature legal decision. 50% of Belize's population is under the age of 17 and 75% is under the age of 35. And I quote Belize Statistical Institute. And you're saying that that's not a potential significant impact? Come on! We have a duty as legislators to legislate on behalf of our constituents. That is why we were elected, to serve for and behalf of those who saw us as responsible and mature leaders. The decision we make today directly impacts over 50% of our population who are children. We are the majority. We tabled this bill, Madam Speaker, and we intend to protect all children up until they are legal adults. And until we table a bill to change that age from 16 to anything higher than 18, we need to be consistent in legislating the rule of law for the benefit of certainly the majority, if not all our people of this beautiful jewel of ours. To conclude, raising the legal marriage age to 18 strikes a balance between protecting minors, respects individual autonomy, and sets consistency in our law. By 18, individuals should have the right to make their own decisions, including marriage, without excessive government intervention. By saying no to child marriage, we're saying yes to the well-being and empowerment of our children. Thank you.
I recognize the honorable member for Toledo East.
Pleasant good day, everyone. Madam Speaker, may I refer to my notes? It is with great pleasure that I stand before you today to represent the constituency of Toledo East. I do not agree with this bill in its present form under the Marriage Persons Act that the legal age of marriage be changed from 16 to 18 years. However, in order for this bill to be efficient, I would like to propose an amendment. It would be immoral of me to stand before you today and not express one of my many concerns with this bill, being the cultural aspects of different communities. Belize has proven itself to be a multicultural country and one of the most affluent to be the Maya. Maya people make up 11.3% of the population in Belize on behalf of the population census conducted in 2021 under the Belize demographics. Marriage-related customs and traditions have existed for many centuries within the Maya population. Some families may regard early marriage as a means of preserving cultural traditions and strengthening ties within their communities. As a result, even though we agree that it is important to give young people the maturity and life experience they need to make wise marriage decisions, we also think that any changes to the legal age of marriage should take into account the particular circumstances of the cultural community. For instance, in certain cultures, early marriage is still common and is considered as a means of securing the family's future and preserving cultural legacy. In order to maintain their cultural identity, recognizing that early marriage can lead to negative consequences, we must ensure that young individuals who run the risk of being coerced into early or forced marriages have legal protections in place. Youth economic and educational options are restricted, poverty cycles are maintained, and the likelihood of early pregnancy and domestic violence is raised by 14.5% according to the UNICEF Child Marriage and Early Unions. In order to resolve this problem, we must interact with the Maya people to disseminate knowledge about the advantages of postponing marriage until the age of 21. Making child marriage laws more stringent, discourse about the drawbacks of young marriages, as well as strategies for preserving and honoring cultural customs can fall under this category. So, members of the House, Madam Speaker, and viewers, I believe that if these amendments are made, only then can this bill serve its full capability. Thank you.
I recognize the honorable member for Caribbean Shores.
Good day, Madam Speaker, honorable members, and viewing guests. Madam Speaker, may I refer to my notes? Ladies and gentlemen of the House, today I come before you not just as a representative of the Caribbean Shores constituency, but as a reverent advocate for the rights and futures of our young citizens in Belize. We convene here for a discussion of utmost importance, the amendment of our marriage laws, a decision that carries the weight of our nation's conscience and values. Allow me to ask, is 16 truly the age at which we can responsibly expect our children to commit to a lifetime partnership? At 16, are they not still in the midst of discovering their identities, aspirations, and place in this world? Their emotional and psychological well-being is still in the process of maturing. How then can we, in good conscience, place the responsibility of marriage upon their shoulders at this tender age, when they have not yet attained the status of legal adulthood? Recent research unequivocally confirms the disparities in cognitive development between adults and teens. While adults engage the prefrontal cortex, the seat of rationality and long-term decision-making, teens primarily process information with the emotional core of the brain. The connections between these emotional centers and the decision-making hub are still forming, often at different rates. When overwhelmed by emotion, teens find it challenging to articulate their thoughts, as they were more driven by feelings than rationality. At 16, children find themselves at a critical juncture in their neurological development, a phase meant for learning, self-discovery, and skill building. By raising the legal age of marriage to 18, we're not just safeguarding their rights, but affording them the opportunity to make informed, responsible decisions and commitments regarding their lives. Allow me to emphasize that while we must honor the diversity of cultures in our country, we must also recognize that when cultural practices jeopardize human safety and compromise the dignity of our young, a decision must be made, a decision that unequivocally protects the well-being and futures of our youth. While child marriage or arranged marriages are not prevalent in my constituency, I envision an incredible butterfly effect that this legislation can have for youths across the country. From Kings Park, Caribbean Shores to Libertad, Corozal District, and from West Landivar to San Benito Poa, Toledo, the collective flapping of wings is a symbol of empowerment, unity, advancement, and most of all, recognizes the dignity of our young adults all across our beautiful Belize. By taking this vital step towards raising the legal age of marriage, we're not only standing against harrowing realities, but also reasserting our commitment to safeguarding the rights and well-being of our young people. Madam Speaker, let us remember that the changes to our laws must not be made lightly. Leaping from 16 to 21 is a significant jump, and we must approach this with measured steps. Setting the legal age of marriage to 18 strikes a balance, providing protection for our youths while respecting the diverse cultural tapestry of our nation, preventing potential cultural conflicts and ensuring a smoother transition to our communities. To conclude, honorable members, the decision before us today is far from a matter of legal semantics. It holds the power to shape the destinies of countless young Belizeans. Let us choose with wisdom and compassion, and let us choose in favor of a brighter, more promising tomorrow for our children. Thank you.
I recognize the honorable member for Orange Walk North.
Good day, Madam Speaker and members of the other constituencies and viewers. Madam Speaker, this bill on child marriage is a very hard topic, considering teenage marriage is a union between adolescents ranging from age 13 to 19. Many factors contribute to teenage marriage, such as love, arranged marriage, teenage pregnancy, religion, security, wealth, family, peer pressure, economical and/or political reasons, social development, and cultural reasons. This bill asks for us to move the age of marriage from 16 to 18. This topic is a great but challenging topic, and I disagree in changing the age of marriage from 16 to 18, considering the age of consent for sexual activities is 16. According to the Statistical Institute of Belize, in 2015, 1 in 5 girls, 20.8%, and 1 in 10 boys 10.7% aged 15 to 19 years were married or in a union. With these statistics and the percentage of teenagers getting married over the years will result in a more serious problem like teenage pregnancy, HIV, and AIDS. The United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, are trying to end child marriages and unions in Belize, highlighting the worrying trend in early unions, early sexual debuts, and teenage pregnancy in regional, urban, and rural, as well as social divides. To top all of this off, Belize has one of the highest levels of child marriages and early unions in the Caribbean region. It makes no sense that you can marry at 18 and have the age of consent at 16, because either way, you are still a teenager and supposed to be in school trying to make something of yourself. A teenage male is not mentally stable to handle a child at that age. I would likely end up leaving the poor girl or even forcing her to abort the baby. Nor is the teenage girl mentally stable to have a child, considering that if she were to have the baby, there will be a higher chance of either the baby dying or the mother dying. So to conclude, Mr. Speaker, I do not agree on the bill in its current form, and I, on behalf of my constituency, Orange Walk North, would suggest that instead of raising the age of marriage from 16 to 18, I think we should move both age of marriage and consent to the age of 21. So that this will give time for both teenagers to really mature and to find themselves a profitable job to support their family, rather than making a mistake they cannot change in the future. Thank you.
I recognize the honorable member for Toledo West.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for allowing me the floor. Good day, Madam Speaker. Mr. Speaker, good day, my Belizean people and my fellow parliamentarians. May I please refer to my notes? Mr. Speaker, child marriage is something that should be considered illegal and is a violation to a child's right, which unfortunately in our region is more likely to happen in rural areas and in poor households. This is something that comes with more negative effects than positive ones. Child marriage is something that, despite declining in frequency, still occurs. This is the primary reason that the bill should be passed for child marriage to be prohibited in Belize. Madam Speaker, it has an adverse effect on children themselves. Child marriage is more common among girls than boys, but still affects all children equally. Child marriage takes away a child's privilege of having a harmonious and beautiful childhood, and it creates heavy responsibility on them to manage a household when they are still children. This is most common for our cultural where the people uphold their traditional beliefs. This affects the way the child will think in the future and their emotional, mental, and physical health. According to mixed adolescents and adults to 49 years of age, 5.5% of females and 4.1% of males were first married or had entered a marital union before their 15th birthday. Hence the reason child marriage should be abolished. Furthermore, Madam Speaker, it affects a child's future. A 2016 household census conducted by Toledo Maya Women's Council in select rural communities in Toledo found that 3 out of every 10 girls aged 13 years were out of school. By the age of 17, the proportion had increased to 8 out of 10. This only proves that child marriage barely gets a chance to further their education, which limits job opportunities and income generation. Most of the time, child brides are unable to further their education because they have a controlling spouse that don't let them make their own decision. Leading to my next pointer. Child marriage also contributes to early pregnancy, domestic violence, and economic pressure. Most of the time, females become mothers at such an early age, which affects the child's development. To add, babies are a huge responsibility, and without proper resource and support can lead to many different issues, including high level of stress and sleep disorder that a child alone may not be able to cope with. And child brides and grooms have to deal with the finances associated with having a family, which contributes to stress, anxiety, and even low self-esteem, and we all know what that could lead to. To summarize, all these effects of child marriage hinder the child and their future. In Toledo, 23% of children marry before the age of 18 according to the statistics. The prohibition should commence as soon as possible. These numbers may seem small, but are enough to hinder our communities and our country as a whole. We are only 7 years to 2030. This bill to prohibit child marriage will be one of Belize's greatest accomplishments and contribution to SDGs Goal 5 to eliminate all harmful practices such as child marriage and forced marriage. In conclusion, as the AR representative of Toledo West, my constituency and I fully support this bill to end child marriage in Belize now, to better our country and the lives of our children and the future generations to come. Thank you.
I recognize the honorable member for Corozal Southwest.
There we go. Good day, Madam Speaker and fellow members of the House. Madam Speaker, may I please refer to my notes? Today we meet to delve into debate stage. We gather here to discuss marriage age. I do not support the bill in its present form and believe it needs amendment for it to best perform. I present my suggestion to protect our youth's dreams. Change marriage age to 21 instead of 18. There are many benefits to be reaped by both individuals and country should we make the legal age of marriage 21 years. To begin, let us examine the economic aspect. With the proposition of raising the marriage age to 21, we will give young people the chance to focus on their career development and education beyond the limit of an 18-year-old's grasp, thereby making them able to get higher income jobs, better employment opportunities, and increasing the chances of them seeking employment overall. As, according to the Inter-American Development Bank, in Belize, persons with higher education are 25% more likely to participate in the labor market. By delaying marriage, they are also more likely to be more professionally prepared, contributing to their financial stability and increased economic growth and development for our society. In terms of community development, as per the Statistical Institute of Belize, 59% of rural areas are home to numerous impoverished families. Postponing marriage until the age of 21 can contribute to lower poverty rates, as individuals are better positioned to achieve financial independence. This could heavily contribute to the development of our rural areas, as quality of life would be immensely improved by the financial stability of families in rural communities. Furthermore, I would like to suggest that with the amendment of the age of marriage to 21 instead of 18 on the bill, we also raise the age of consent to harmonize both laws. At this juncture, I also wish to remind that even at 18, while a person is a legal adult, they still have teen within their age. In conclusion, elevating the minimum marriage age to 21 years instead of 18 would be a pivotal step towards fostering community and economic development, and would ensure that the bill be utilized to safeguard the future and dreams of our youth to its full extent. I'm Corozal Southwest representative. Thank you for your time.
I recognize the honorable member for Corozal Southeast.
Good morning, Madam Speaker and honorable members of the House. I'd like to begin by greeting and thanking the people of Corozal Southeast, who I'm going to be representing today. Madam Speaker, with your permission, may I refer to my notes? Adolescence is the conjugate of childhood and adulthood. This was said by Louis J. Kaplan. Please keep it in mind. As the member of the Corozal Southeast, my role is to ensure the safety of our children and its people by combating various issues. One issue that falls under is human trafficking. To traffic, all you need is an act, a means, and a purpose. Please remember this. Now, older men who have all the luxuries are promising the world to young girls and recruiting them with these promises. As adolescents, these young girls do not have the capability to fully make a rational decision on whether or not they should take these offers. Girls are also being pushed into these marriages by their own parents in desperation to get out of financial constraints. These girls are being exploited. This is an act of human trafficking. Adolescence is the conjugate of childhood and adulthood. 16-year-olds are not young children, but they are not adults. Now, does this problem only affect young girls being targeted by older men? Of course not. There are so many aspects to view from this. Now let me give an example. If someone gets married at 16, has not even finished their high school, what possible job could these individuals acquire? 16-year-olds without a high school degree can't even devote themselves to our country. According to the Belize Defense Force, the requirement to enroll is minimum a high school degree and 18 years of age. So, the law can acknowledge that serving our country takes great mental maturity, and that is well reasonable that if you want to join the forces, you should at least have acquired a high school diploma. However, when it comes to marriage, the law can completely disregard mental maturity and education? No. How is someone supposed to support their family without that mental maturity and education? What kind of parents would these people become? What kind of occupation could they possibly acquire? So, if there is no job available for these parents, they will not be able to tend to their children and will end up leaving them. In Corozal Southeast constituency, there is a growing issue of children being abandoned and given up. Children living with their grandparents or other relatives. Should we continue to allow undeveloped parents to have children? So, to conclude, child marriage, marriage under the age of 18 years of age should be prohibited. Thank you.
I recognize the honorable member for Kaya Northeast.
Good day, Madam Speaker. Today I stand before you as a representative of Kaya Northeast. I am here to address a pressing issue that has been eating away at our community and our future in this country. That issue is marriage before the age of 18. Your Honor, may I refer to my notes? Sorry about that. Firstly, Madam Speaker, the physical and emotional well-being of our young people is at stake. We must acknowledge that a 16-year-old is still in that crucial stage of development. Marriage at such a tender age can lead to serious physical and emotional health risks, often such as maternal mortality and complications during childbirth. By raising the minimum age of marriage to 18, we are protecting the health of our young women and ensuring that they have the opportunity to fully mature before such a life-altering decision. Secondly, Madam Speaker, education is considered the cornerstone in our community's prosperity. When the youth marry at the age of 16, they often drop out of school. This leads them to not fully accomplish their dreams or any other goals that they had set to in life. Also with that, by raising the minimum age of marriage to 18, we are giving them the chance to fully complete their education. Lastly, we must consider social economic factors within our community. Early marriage can lead to financial instability and poverty. So, young brides and grooms often lack the necessary skills and resources to support a family effectively. By extending the legal age of marriage to 18, we are providing our youth the time and the opportunities to acquire the education and skills needed for a brighter economic future. In conclusion, my fellow constituencies, it is our responsibilities to protect the well-being of our youth, ensuring access to education and bolstering economic prospects of our community. Changing the age of marriage from 16 to 18 is a step in the right direction. As Einstein once said, life is like riding a bike. To keep balance, you must keep moving forward. So let us join to support this critical change for the betterment of Belize and its future generations, Madam Speaker. Thank you.
I recognize the honorable member for Belmopan.
Good day, Madam Speaker and honorable members. I'd like to acknowledge, firstly, the serving members of the armed forces as we remember and honor their services. With your permission, Madam Speaker, I'd like to refer to my notes. Protocol established. I oppose the current bill in which the legal age for marriage is set at 16 should be extended to the age of 21. I'd like to further present my point by introducing human trafficking. In the year of 2021, there were 3 confirmed cases as opposed to 20 potential cases identified in the year of 2020. The updated data claims that Belize is classified under Tier 2, which is not fully compliant but still nevertheless makes substantial efforts to meet the minimum standards required. The risk level of Belize in human trafficking is at a medium rate, while different countries in Central America, like Panama or Guatemala, suffer a very high level of human trafficking. The statistics conducted by the U.S. Department of State states that the target for traffickers are people between the ages 16 to 20. Simply meaning that the targeted teens are much more vulnerable and easier to manipulate into a forced marriage. They are much more gullible and reluctant to speak up about certain issues that may be affecting us either mentally or physically. Whereas at the age of 21 and above, these young adults are much more confident and open about their opinions and thoughts. This is because at this age, you have already gained enough experience to go about making permanent life decisions such as marriage. Therefore, I conclude by proving that we are just not at all prepared to go about making these decisions such as marriage at the age of 16 nor 18. Thank you.
I recognize the honorable member for Pigstock.
Today, I stand before this honorable house to present the most dire issue deeply concerning our societies, that of child marriage. Child marriage, often defined as the union of a child under the age of 18, is a violation of basic human rights and an affront to the dignity of the individual. It is a practice that we must vehemently oppose. Furthermore, child marriage denies children the right to an education. Shockingly, girls who married before 18 are more likely to school, perpetuating a cycle of illiteracy and limited opportunities. In some regions, up to 50% of child brides have no formal education, severely hindering their ability to break free from the chains of poverty. Child marriages also perpetuate a cycle of gender inequality. Girls are disproportionately affected by this practice, as they are often married off to older men. This not only results in a lack of personal agency for the girls, but also subjects them to the risk of domestic violence and exploitation. According to a study done through UNICEF, girls aged 15 to 19 are twice as likely to be victims of domestic violence as those who marry later. Furthermore, child marriage poses significant health risks, particularly for young girls. Early pregnancies can lead to severe complications, and the physical and emotional toll on a child bride can be devastating. Approximately 90% of adolescent pregnancies in the developing world occur within a marriage. In addition to these harrowing consequences, child marriage is a hindrance to social and economic development. When we allow child marriage to persist, we perpetuate cycles of poverty within our community. These young individuals are unable to pursue careers, contribute to the workforce, or become active members of society. It is also unreasonable to place the age of marriage above the age of 18 due to the fact that a person does not stop maturing until the age of 30, at which point it would be unreasonable to place the age of marriage at 30. This, placing the age of marriage at 21, shows a clear distrust for our youth of Belize. The opposition brought up that an 18-year-old would not be financially stable enough to raise a child. However, it would be very rare for a 21-year-old to be financially stable to raise a child also. Furthermore, placing the age of marriage at the age of 21 would be ununiform, as we have placed the age of adulthood at the age of 18. If this was wrong, why is it that the majority of the world places the age of adulthood in the age of 18? So in conclusion, for the purpose of uniformity, for the purpose of economic development, for the purpose of allowing our youth to thrive, I, representative of Pickstock, am in full support of this bill. Thank you.
I recognize the honorable member for Port Loyola.
Good day, Madam Speaker and other honorary members of the House. Envision being a young and optimistic 16 or 18-year-old, newly wedded and eager for the future. However, there is a shortcoming. You work tirelessly all day to support your family, yet despite those efforts, your earnings always fall short of what is crucial. Madam Speaker, may I please refer to my notes? The proposed bill aims to raise the legal marriage age from 16 to 18. This is acknowledged and understood. However, it entirely disregards the practical reality that individuals within this age bracket may struggle to independently sustain their marriage financially. Even though the 16 to 18-year-old age group is eligible for employment, the available jobs for educated teenagers in this age range often offer small incomes, sometimes even at or near the minimum wage. The proposal to increase the legal marriage age to 21 is driven that By this age, individuals may have had more time to establish themselves in the workforce, save money, and develop this financial independence. Moreover, this could contribute to a more stable foundation for a marriage. In terms of culture and society, we commonly use the term teen to describe individuals in their adolescence, encompassing ages 13 to 19. Therefore, even though an 18-year-old is legally an adult, they are still considered the broader category known informally as teen years. Higher paying jobs require higher levels of education or specialized skills. This is because these positions often involve more complex tasks, decision-making, and responsibilities that necessitate a level of knowledge and expertise, all things possible by the age of 21. At this stage in your life, you have earned a high school diploma, a sixth form education, and a bachelor's degree. Having a bachelor's degree tends to increase your earning potential to open up opportunities for higher paying jobs compared to just having this high school diploma. Jobs that offer higher pay and greater opportunities for career advancement often require candidates to have this bachelor's degree, especially for positions in management or leadership. To recapitulate, it is unlikely that a 16 or 18-year-old could adequately support their family on their own. I, area representative of Port Loyola, do not support the bill in its current structure. Thank you for your time.
I recognize the honorable member for Fort George.
Good morning, Madam Speaker, honorable members, distinguished guests, and strangers in the gallery. I stand here as a proud representative of Fort George to fully agree with the bill being passed today. Under the prohibition of child marriage Act 2023, it states that a child is someone who is under the age of 18. Child marriage is completely illegal under law, yet statistics shows that in Belize, 1 in 5 girls, 20.8%, and 1 in 10 boys, 10.7%, are in a union. Madam Speaker, may I refer to my notes? We must point out that a child under the age of 18 is still developing and isn't in their complete state of mind. As said under law, a child under 18 years of age doesn't have the right to consent. This may be the case for a forced marriage from cultures or family traditions. The opposition may say that we should still respect others' way of culture. However, we have to put the influence of child marriage into perspective. Child marriage can influence children into performing sexual intercourse. Why so? Because as previously said, child is still developing, which means their hormones are at a rise. And once they are influenced to do it, it's hard to say no. Almost hard to say no. Keep in mind the word almost, because peer pressure is still an occurring issue in this country. And once they say no, they may feel they are disregarding their family's opinion or ways. We also have to keep in mind that once a child gets pregnant, it can lead to serious issues to her body, which can lead to death. I would like to also get one statement straight to the opposition. Abortion should not be used as an abuse method, or in other words, a plan B, and therefore the age of sexual intercourse has to be addressed for this bill to fully benefit the country. As I end my speech today, I agree that the legal age of marriage should be changed from 16 to 18. I have to say this to the opposition. If you believe the age of consent should be, the legal age of marriage should be 21 and not 18 because of maturity, then let me ask you this. Are you saying that if a 20-year-old wants to earn income for themselves or their family, they are not mature enough? Are you saying an 18-year-old who wants to go to school to further their education is not mature enough? You say an 18-year-old is not mature, yet data shows that 21-year-olds commit 1,200 crimes, recognized and unrecognized, each year rather than an 18-year-old. Think of that. Thank you.
I recognize the honorable member for Kaya North.
Good day, Madam Speaker, viewers, and everyone present here today. Before I continue, Madam Speaker, may I please refer to my notes? Thank you. I stand before you today to voice my support for the bill proposing to raise the legal age of marriage from 16 to 18. The passing of this bill is a crucial step towards protecting the rights and well-being of our nation's most vulnerable citizens, our children. According to UNICEF, Belize has the second highest rate of child marriage and early union in the Caribbean. Are you hearing this? In the entire Caribbean. And despite the progress we've made in recent years, child marriage persists, with 10% of males between the ages of 15 to 19 already in a marriage or early union. And this does not decrease in our girls. Dreadfully, it practically doubles with girls in the exact same age range. The consequences of child marriage are grave and long-lasting. Girls who are married off at a young age often have limited educational opportunities, increased health risks, and are more vulnerable to domestic violence. But let us keep in mind that just as females, males face repercussions as well. Boys placed in these situations are more likely to fall into alcoholism, and due to not being emotionally intelligent enough to find a proper coping mechanism, they risk getting into contact with law. Child marriage perpetuates the cycle of poverty, hindering not only the individuals involved, but also the development of our nation. Are we really going to continue and see this happen and not do anything? No, we can no longer allow this to continue. Now, I am aware that some might argue that cultural or religious traditions should be preserved and that we must respect those beliefs. However, we must also consider the well-being and rights of our children. At 18, we find a middle ground between maintaining tradition and finding our protection. We also acknowledge the shifting societal norms. This age was chosen per international norms and recognition that people are generally regarded as adults who are very aware of the decisions that they are making. Raising the legal age is not about restricting freedom. It is about allowing and ensuring our children can develop into healthy, educated, and empowered adults. Taking everything into account, by raising the legal age from 16 to 18 years, we are sending a clear message that the rights and well-being of our children are non-negotiable. Madam Speaker, the people of Cayo North are with me on this. They recognize the benefits that this can have towards their youth population. They know this is a critical step for safeguarding their futures and ensuring they have every opportunity to flourish. But despite what is decided today, I am very confident that both opposition and government are carrying all this out to ensure this change will have a lasting positive impact on the lives of all Belizean children. Thank you.
I recognize the honorable member for Cayo Central.
Good day, Madam Speaker, Honorable Member of the House. Madam Speaker, may I refer to my note? Today, I would like to address the important topic of raising the age of consent for marriage from 16 to 18 years, and why I firmly disagree with setting it at 16 to 18 years old. Marriage is a significant life decision, one that carries with immense responsibilities and consequences. It is a commitment that shapes the course of individual lives and often impact society as a whole. Therefore, it is essential to carefully consider appropriate age at which one should be allowed to marry. First, let's discuss the proposal to raise the age of consent to 21. This approach recognizes that young adults need time to mature, gain life experience, and develop emotional and financial stability required for a successful marriage. At the age of 21, individuals are generally better equipped to make informed, responsible decisions about their future. On the other hand, setting the age of consent at 16 to 18 years is problematic. While these years mark transition into adulthood, they are still characterized by significant emotional and cognitive development. Marriage at this age may hinder educational and career prospects and limit the freedom to explore one's full potential. By raising the age to 21, we are providing a more balanced approach that ensures individuals have the opportunity to attain a higher level of maturity, educational, and financial stability before entering into marriage. This will lead to more informed decisions and ultimately contribute to stronger, healthier relationships and families. In conclusion, it is crucial that we consider the long-term well-being of young adults when discussing the age of consent for marriage. Raising the age of 21 is a more prudent, protective approach, fostering responsible, fulfilling marriage, and providing a safer and more supportive environment for our youth. On behalf of Cayo Central constituency, we do not, I repeat, we do not support this bill in its current form. Thank you.
I recognize the honorable member for Orange Walk East.
Good morning, Madam Speaker, honorable members, by way of media and all other watching, and of course, my beloved Orange Walk East. With the presence of this bill, Madam Speaker, may I refer to my notes? With the presence of this bill, I came to express the need of raising the age of marriage. What are child marriages? Child marriage is a formal marriage or informal union of children under the age of 18 with an adult or another child. At the end of my speech, I hope you understand why this act should be set and how this act will protect our future generations. These child marriages take the opportunity to be a child away from these adolescents. Girls who marry before the age of 18 are most likely to experience domestic violence. This affects their mental and physical health. Child marriages affect young adolescents by increasing the rate of depression, sexually transmitted infection, and cervical cancer. According to UNICEF Belize, for all children 2018, 40% of young girls are married before the age of 18 and 12% before the age of 15. A 2015 survey from UNICEF Belize shows that every 72 out of 1,000 births are to a young mother between the ages of 15 to 19. We have to protect the youth of our young children. We see these things happening, and now is the time we can do something impactful for these young people. We all have our opinions on child marriages, but do we all know why child marriages happen? These can happen for a great deal of reasons. The main are culture, poverty, and religious belief. In Belize, the Mayan and Mestizo culture still practice child marriages. They believe that if you are not married by the age of 15, you are considered an old maiden, and that is a title that is looked down upon. Poverty. Parents also put their children or child in a marriage to reduce their economic burden and improve their financial situation, having one less mouth to feed. And finally, religious belief. These people believe that if a female is pregnant, they must marry the father, no matter of age, or to not have a baby born out of wedlock. Think about this. You are an adult at 18, but can get married at 16. What sense does this make? How can you have adult privilege when you're yet just a child? This is why I, the representative of Orange Walk East, stand for the age of marriage to be changed from 16 to 18. Thank you.
I recognize the honorable member for Cayo West.
Good day, Madam Speaker, audience, and fellow parliamentarians. Madam Speaker, may I refer to my notes? On behalf of the constituency of Kaya West, I agree with the proposition for a revision of the legal age for marriage in Belize. However, I don't agree with advocating for elevation of the legal marriage age from 16 to 18 upon the notion that turning 18 generally means being more mature and having a better handle on finances. The mere difference of 2 years between 16 and 18 has caused debate surrounding how mature people are at these ages, but there's no clear answer. This stems from the irrefutable fact that whether at 16 or 18, being financially independent remains an elusive prospect, especially since many well-paying vocations require the attainment of at least an associate degree. According to a census conducted by the Statistical Institute of Belize in 2022, persons with a tertiary level education had the highest participation rate in the labor market at 76.2%, compared to those who did not complete any level of education at 47.7%. Furthermore, an important concern arises. How could an individual join and manage a matrimonial union with the pursuit of completing one's education at the age of 16 or 18? Growing and taking care of a family can be a strenuous task as it is. Now imagine doing that while still in school at that young age. As Dave Matthew once said, and I quote, "Life may be short, but it can also be sweet," end quote. So it is my recommendation for children to take their time to grow and figure out what they want to do with their lives before they make decisions that they're not quite ready for just yet, and understand that setbacks are a part of life, but they don't define you. Contemplating the hypothetical scenario of the legal marriage age to be 16 or 18 unveils the imbalance within our country's legal framework. Within our jurisdiction, a person is permitted to give sexual consent at 16. This is one adjustment that we must make to our jurisdiction in accordance with the bill. If the legal age to get married is raised to 21, then so should the legal age of consent. This would ensure a consistent and coherent legal framework that aligns with our evolving societal norms and values. Thank you.
I recognize the honorable member for Belize Rural North.
Good morning, Madam Speaker. May I refer to my notes? Distinguished guests and fellow citizens of Belize, I stand here before you in agreement to change the legal age of marriage from 16 to 18. Please reflect on these words: abuse, divorce, poverty, violence, and death. Representative, this is not merely about adjusting a number in our legal system. It's acknowledging the profound, lifelong impact that early marriage have on our young teens. It's ensuring that we as a nation stand in solidarity with them, ready to put an end to this unnecessary suffering. By raising the legal age of marriage to 18, we have an opportunity to grant our young girls and boys a respite from the agony of early marriages and the subsequent pain of divorce and abuse. Belize Rural North recognizes the urgency of this proposal. This is why marriages should be aligned with the age of voting and alcohol consumption. The marriage laws are protect and serve those whose marriages have failed, especially those young girls who are married at 16 and got pregnant before even reaching at 18. However, we must recognize that life is all about choices and consequences. These adolescents should be responsible for their choices and the paths they choose for themselves. Young teens seek marriage and use it as an escape route from abuse, poverty, and other limiting factors, which our current law allows them to get married. The sooner the better, right? No one would like to get married and have kids pretending they know what to do, then realize
this kind of early marriage only leads them back to the same cycle they were trying to escape. The average time for an individual to complete their education, establish their careers, and understand themselves is 25 to 30. So should we wait until 30 to get married? In conclusion, the proposal to change the legal age from 16 to 18 in Belize is about standing up for our youth, but we need to acknowledge that our life is controlled by our decisions and choices. We can't shelter our youth forever. Living in Belize means being free. Being free means being responsible for ourselves and our choices. Together we can create a future for our youth and strive to reach their full potential and avoid the heartache of early divorces. Thank you.
I recognize the honorable member for Corazal Bay.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. It is a pleasure being given the opportunity to be here today as a member of the opposition and representative of my constituency, Corazal Bay. May I refer to my notes? I will now read an analogy. An old man in a desert was coming from the opposite direction of a young man. The young man was thirsty, hungry, and tired. The old man told him, "Go in the direction that I came from and pick up as many stones as you can." Later, he got what he wanted, and the stones were diamonds. He realized that he could have picked up more and regretted not picking up as much as he could. As youths, we sometimes tend not to listen to advice. The diamonds symbolize how substantial it is to effectuate an education and how valuable it could be. With age comes wisdom, they say, but a mere 2-year difference will barely change anything. Why rush things and try to do things that will benefit your future? It is important to consider the developmental and psychological needs of young people in general. The mind finally continues to mature in the mid-20s, especially in the frontal cortex, which is responsible for the decision-making, impulse control, and risk assessment. It is to reconsider the risks associated with early marriages, and it is important. According to the World Health Organization, young women ages from 15 to 19 are considered to be more vulnerable physically and sexually or psychologically by a partner, including other risk factors mentioned by the government, such as CMU, mentioned by the Cayo Southwest representative, and domestic violence, such as mentioned by the PICSOC representative. I believe the legal age for marriage should at least change to 21 years of age. One of the main reasons I believe it should change is because at the ages of 16 and 18, majority of young individuals are still in high school and lack the financial and emotional independence necessary to make such commitment. This would allow young people to gain more life experience and maturity before committing to a lifetime relationship. And it will also reduce the risk associated with early marriages and provides young people with the opportunity to pursue their goals and reach their full potential before reaching to a point where they have to be in a long-term relationship. As a representative of my constituency, Corazal Bay, I will not agree to such statement in its current state, because there were, as we stated, in the side of the opposition, my colleagues and myself, that showed evidently that the dangers of a child in marriage to 16 from 18, and while not ignoring the fact that changing it to 21 will benefit our generation and the next. This is not gender-based. This is about the entire youth of Belizean country, and we want this to be 100% significant to our country, and that is why 21 years of age will make changes, and we can justify to new norms. Thank you.
I recognize the honorable member for Dangriga.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me the floor. May I refer to my notes? It is imperative that we advocate for child marriage to be banned when it shouldn't even exist at all. According to United Nations, child marriage is any marriage where at least one of the parties is under 18 years of age. Forced marriage is a marriage in which one or both parties have not personally expressed their full and free consent to the union. These two are often intertwined. Madam Speaker, I would like to take a moment to further explain why we need to end child marriage on two premises. One, the minds and bodies of children are not fully developed at this age. Secondly, children are subjected to all forms of abuse. Child marriages and early unions represent a violation of Child marriage and early unions represent a violation of human rights for both boys and girls. However, it still occurs in this region, especially in the Dominican Republic, Nicaragua, Honduras, and in our Belize, where the percentage of women aged 20 to 24 who married or found themselves in a union before the age of 18 exceeds 30%. The majority of women who married in childhood also gave birth before the age of 18, 8 in 10 by the age of 20. To further solidify my point, Belize is a part of the top 5 highest prevalence rates of child marriage in Latin America and the Caribbean. In Stan Creek District alone, 35.6% of women and 20.2% of men between the age 15 and 19 are currently married or in a union, according to Mix 2015-2016. Way too often, the bodies have not fully matured. Therefore, the strain of carrying a child, which is a very complex process, can be life-threatening. Just like the story of Isato Jeng, a 15-year-old who got pregnant in Gambia, Africa, who was forced to marry but refused. I want to be the voice to stop this from happening to the teens here in Belize. She fought and advocated for many through her non-profit organization, the Girl Agenda. I want you, my fellow colleagues, to see how important it is to fight like she did, to end child marriages in our Belize. Secondly, the abuse that may occur within these marriages can be vast. At this age, we are yet timid. Therefore, we may be subjected to financial, emotional, physical, and sexual abuse, just to list a few. Adolescent girls in unions are likely to face increased intimate partner violence, but may not seek help due to discrimination against them. These issues that can create and contribute a crippled society. I'd like to take a moment to commend our Central American nations respectively, El Salvador and Guatemala, who in 2017 celebrated the elimination of all child marriage nationwide. Madam Speaker, just like them, we are here to unite for this cause to end child marriage in Belize. I am advocating for all, but particularly for those in Dangriga, Sarawi, and Hope Creek, where 9% of males and 36% of women were married before the age of 18. We must speak up. Together, we can unite for the greater good of the males, but especially for that girl child who is often subjected to these monstrous arrangements. Based on all negative effects of child marriage, Madam Speaker, I rise to change the legal age of marriage to 18 years old. Child marriage should never be an option or a possibility. Thank you.
I recognize the honorable member for Queen Square.
Good day, Madam Speaker, honorable members, strangers in the gallery, and media. Madam Speaker, may I please refer to my notes? Thank you. As far as society advancement is concerned, there is inherent need to safeguard the vulnerable and develop the potential of the young. The young minds of Belize are facing serious challenges due to the fact that the legal marriage age in Belize is set at 16 years old. Imagine a Belize where the young people are free to pursue their dreams, learn, and establish a solid foundation for their life before being married and left to deal with the challenges of marriage. Our urgent request to alter the Marriage Persons Act and raise the legal age of marriage from 16 to 18 years old is framed by this vision. We must aim to ensure comprehensive education and to protect the physical and mental well-being of adolescents. For one, raising the legal marriage is critical, especially given scientific understanding of human development. Adolescence is a pivotal period in which people not only finish their formal education, but also undergo major brain development. According to scientific studies, the human brain continues to mature after the age of 16, improving analytical ability and decision-making skills. Delaying marriage till the age of 18 guarantees that young people can benefit from this extended time to grow maturely and make sound decisions. They are better ready to make educated life choices if they receive an extensive education alongside their own personal choices. This approach not only promotes individual well-being, but also helps to create a society in which the collective knowledge and skills of its members are maximized, resulting in a more successful future for Belize. To add, raising the legal marriage age in Belize to 18 is essential for teenagers' physical and mental health, taking into account psychological factors of human development. Adolescent bodies are not fully mature biologically, especially in terms of reproductive health. Delaying marriage until people are biologically mature reduces the health hazards of early pregnancies and deliveries, safeguarding both the mother and the child. Furthermore, because the brain develops slowly, young people require ample time to build emotional resilience and coping skills. Premature marriages frequently cause undue stress and emotional strain, compromising mental health, and to a certain extent affect them later on to legal separations, single-parent families, and children raising children. Belize can dramatically enhance the overall health outcomes and mental stability of its youth by ensuring that individuals join marriage when their bodies and mind are more scientifically mature. By revising the legal age of marriage in Belize, we are redefining the future ground of our country, not just adjusting a number. Recognizing the scientific evidence that human brains continue to grow passing the age of 16 emphasizes the importance of caution and patience in life-altering decisions, such as marriage. As the expression goes, everything has its time and place. The government must protect access to education and maintain physical and mental health in order to build a stronger, healthier families and a society where citizens can realize their full potential. Accepting this shift is an investment in a future where our children can prosper free from early obligations and where everyone can live up to the promise of a better tomorrow. This is why, representing my constituency, Queen's Square, I proudly stand in full support of the provision of the Marriage Act bill. Thank you.
Honorable members, the question is that the bill for an act to provide for the prohibition of solemnization of child marriages and to provide for matters connected therewith and incidental thereto be read a second time. All those in favor kindly say aye. Those against kindly say no. I think the ayes have it.
Bill for an act to provide for the prohibition of solemnization of child marriages and to provide for matters connected therewith or incidental thereto. Committee of the Whole House on Bill.
Honorable members, the House will now resolve into a committee of the whole House to consider the bill that was read a second time.
Bill for third reading.
I recognize the Honorable Minister of Human Development, Families and Indigenous Peoples Affairs.
Madam President, I rise to report that the Committee of the Whole House has considered the Prohibition of Child Marriage Bill 2023 and passed it without amendment. I now move the third reading of that bill.
Honorable members, the question is that the bill for an act to provide for the prohibition of solemnization of child marriages and to provide for matters connected therewith or incidental thereto be read a third time. All those in favor kindly say aye. Those against kindly say no. I think the ayes have it.
Bill for an act to provide for the prohibition of solemnization of child marriages and to provide for matters connected therewith or incidental thereto.
I recognize the Honorable Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, Economic Development and Investment.
Madam Speaker, I move that the House do now adjourn.
Honorable members, the question is that the House do now adjourn. All those in favor kindly say aye. Those against kindly say no. I think the ayes have it. The House now stands adjourned.
Yeah, yeah. Test. Test, test, yeah, test, test.
Mic test 1 2. Mic test 1 2. Mic test. Mic test 1 2. Good? You good? Mic test 1 2.
Let us pray. Almighty and eternal God, who through Jesus Christ has revealed your glory to all nations, please protect and preserve Belize, our beloved country. God of might, wisdom, and justice, please assist our Belizean government and people with your Holy Spirit of counsel and fortitude. Let the light of your divine wisdom direct your plans and endeavors, so that with your help we may attain our just objectives. With your guidance, may all our endeavors tend to peace, social justice, liberty, national happiness, the increase of industry, sobriety, and useful knowledge. We pray, O God of mercy, for all of us, that we may be blessed in the knowledge and sanctified in the observance of your most holy law, that we may be preserved in union in that peace which the world itself cannot give. And after enjoying the blessings of this life, please admit us, dear Lord, to the eternal reward that you have prepared for those who love you. Amen.
Announcement by the President.
Good morning, honorable members. I am pleased to announce that the Ministry of Education, Culture, Science and Technology endorsed the Children's Parliament Bill 2022, titled Education and Training, Vocational Education Development Bill 2022. This bill focuses on the recommendation that the government of Belize ensures that present in every municipality of the country are at least 2 secondary schools and 1 tertiary level institution that offers vocational training needed in communities.
Bill brought from the House of Representatives.
I recognize the Leader of Government Business.
Mr. President, I rise to take charge of the Prohibition of Child Marriage Bill 2023. Mr. President, in accordance with Standing Order Number 49-1, I move that the bill be taken through all its stages forthwith.
Honorable members, the question is that the bill be taken through all its stages forthwith. All those in favor kindly say aye. Those against kindly say no. I think the ayes have it.
Motions relating to the business or sittings of the Senate.
I recognize the Leader of Government Business.
Mr. President, I move that at its rising today, the Senate adjourn to a date to be fixed by the President.
Honorable members, the question is that at its rising today, the Senate adjourned to a date to be fixed by the President. All those in favor kindly say aye. Those against kindly say no. I think the ayes have it.
Public Business, Government Business, Bill for second reading.
I recognize the Leader of Government Business.
Mr. President, I rise to move the second reading of a bill for an act to provide the prohibition of solemnization of child marriages and to provide for matters connected therewith or incidental thereto. Mr. President, may I refer to my notes? Good day, Mr. President and fellow senators. I stand before you all to express that child marriage, a global issue transcending borders and cultures, has silently plagued the lives of countless young individuals within our country. I've come with a resolute purpose to tackle this pressing concern and herald a significant change for the betterment of our cherished Belize. In our beloved Belize, as it currently stands, the legal age of marriage is 16. However, we must recognize that child marriage not only infringes upon the rights of our young citizens, but also casts a shadow over their future prospects. We've witnessed instances where our children have voluntarily or involuntarily entered into a lifelong commitment without truly comprehending the gravity of the consequences. Our motivation for change is unwavering and deeply rooted in the well-being of our young people. By raising the legal age of marriage to 18, we instate a safeguard for their human rights and secure their future. This transformative step will empower them to pursue education, personal growth, and career opportunities, ensuring they have a rock-solid foundation financially, physically, and mentally before they embark on a lifelong commitment of marriage. On a global scale, we are bound by values and responsibilities that seek to protect the rights of children. By raising the legal marriage age to 18, we align ourselves with these international norms. It is imperative that we follow the lead of many nations that have recognized the significance of this shift. Consider, for example, the successes experienced by nations like Barbados and Jamaica after raising the legal age of marriage. Among the numerous advantages have been higher educational achievement and improved health outcomes for young people. Our beloved Belize too can pave the way for brighter futures and healthier lives for our youth. Therefore, today, we present a bold proposal, a bill that seeks to raise the legal age of marriage from 16 to 18. This bill includes comprehensive provisions to ensure enforcement and monitoring, thus shielding our children from unintended consequences of early marriages. This legislation is a beacon of hope, a promise to our young generation that we are committed to safeguarding their rights and nurturing their potential. In conclusion, we stand at the crossroads of change with the power to reshape the future of our young people. Let us, as a nation, unite in this noble endeavor. Together, we can create a brighter, safer, and more prosperous Belize where child marriage becomes a relic of the past. Thank you, and let us forge ahead, hand in hand, towards a brighter and more promising future for our youth by supporting the Prohibition of Child Marriage Bill 2023.
I recognize Senator Hemang Punjabi.
Good morning, Mr. President and all fellow senators. Mr. President, may I refer to my notes? Today, I present a proposition that calls for raising the legal age of marriage to 21 instead of 18. This change is not meant to restrict personal freedom, but rather to ensure the well-being and long-term success of individuals entering into a significant life commitment. At 18, individuals are often in the midst of significant and personal educational transitions. By raising the legal age of marriage to 21, we provide young adults with additional time to pursue education, establish financial stability, and gain a better understanding of themselves and their goals. Furthermore, research suggests that those who marry later in life tend to have a more stable and enduring marriage. The experience gained between 18 and 21 can contribute to emotional maturity and the development of essential life skills, fostering healthier relationships. It is crucial to acknowledge that marriage is not just a personal choice. It has social implications. Delaying the legal age encourages a more responsible approach to the institution of marriage, reducing the likelihood of early divorces and associated social and economic burdens. In conclusion, raising the legal age of marriage to 21 is a step forward, promoting individual growth, fostering stable relationships, and contributing to the overall well-being of our society. Let us practice the long-term success and happiness of our citizens by supporting this important change.
I recognize Senator Brianna Orozco.
Good morning.
morning to all, Mr. President, fellow senators, and strangers in the gallery. Mr. President, may I refer to my notes? With protocol being established, I am here before you to champion a cause that will reshape our future and safeguard our children's rights. A cause to raise the legal marriage age from 16 to 18. Together, we can ensure that they have a chance to flourish unburdened by the weight of adult responsibilities, and that our young citizens have the opportunity to fully embrace their potential before embarking on the journey of matrimony. First and foremost, raising the legal age of marriage to 18 is about protecting our vulnerable youth. It protects them from early and potentially forced marriages, ensuring that their focus is on their education and personal development. Delaying marriage until the age of 18 enables individuals to complete their education and potentially pursue higher education or training. By raising the marriage age, we can further discourage child labor, allowing our young people to remain in school and develop the skills necessary for an empowered workforce for our future. This not only reduces child labor, but also has its own adverse effects on our economy and businesses. Moreover, there seems to be an anomaly of when a person can make one of the biggest decisions of their life, which would be to marry at the age of 16. However, that same person would not be legally mature enough to vote in a political cycle. It is arguable with much merit that marriage is an even bigger decision to make than voting. Additionally, raising the marriage age reduces early parenthood, which can have adverse consequences on the health and socio-economic prospects of young parents. Encouraging family planning and responsible parenthood supports a more sustainable and stable population. Furthermore, and I add, delaying marriage allows for the youth population to biologically mature and become versed in field areas which are needed for our country. A mature and educated workforce is an attractive proposition for investors and businesses, which is a dire necessity for the upholding of our country's future. Changing the age of marriage not only positively impacts this generation, but also future generations. If persons are better prepared from a skilled perspective prior to entering the workforce, they will be able to work for a better position for themselves, as well as enforce a healthy educational and financial lifestyle among their children to come. Overall, and I finish herewith, changing the legal age of marriage from 16 to 18 is essential for the well-being and economic development of Belize. This is because it works in creating a more educated, healthy, and empowered workforce, especially among the youths. I fully encourage and support this bill because what good does all the fighting for a better economy do if we are confining the hands of those who hold the future entirely? Thank you, and let us work to make the youths our priority.
I recognize Senator Carleen Thun.
Good day, Mr. President and all members present today. With your permission, sir, I would like to refer to my prepared text. Mr. President, today I stand before you to address a crucial issue that concerns the welfare and future of our young Belizean citizens. The need to change the legal age of marriage from 16 to 18 years in Belize. This is an important step that can have far-reaching positive effects in our society, and I'll present several compelling reasons for this change. Firstly, Mr. President, changing the legal age of marriage to 18 will align with international human rights standards. The United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child recommends that the minimum age for marriage should be 18. By adhering to this standard, we demonstrate our commitment to protecting the rights of and well-being of our children. 16 is but a child, Mr. President. That child cannot even consent to marriage without the consent and approval of an adult who must sign on their behalf. Who gives their babies to a grown man in marriage, taking away their innocence and basic rights? Secondly, Mr. President, raising the legal age of marriage will ensure that our young adolescents have the opportunity to complete their education. At 16, one is barely out of high school, and in today's economy and job market, the least requirement for most average paid jobs is an associate's degree. The man or woman who truly cares for you will encourage you to complete your education so that you can actually assist in bringing in as much needed resources to the home. Marriage at a young age often leads to discontinuation of schooling, limiting the future prospects of individuals and perpetuating cycles of poverty. By waiting until 18, young people can focus on their education, personal and physical growth, as well as their career development. Finally, Mr. President, early marriages and hence early sexual engagements are linked to a series of health risks for young brides, including higher rates of maternal mortality and complications during pregnancies and childbirth, and yes, higher incidence of ovarian and other forms of cancers. Delaying marriage until the age of 18 can reduce these risks, promoting better health outcomes for our young girls. Hence, changing the legal age of marriage from 16 to 18 years in Belize is a vital step to protect the rights, education, health, and well-being of our young Belizean citizens. It aligns us with international standards, fosters better educational opportunities, and reduces health risks. By making this change, we send a clear message that we value the future of our youth and are committed to creating a safer and more equitable society for all. It's time for Belize to take this important step forward in the interest of our young citizens and the nation as a whole. To these predators we say, leave our little girls alone. Let them grow up to be adults who accomplish all their goals. 18 we say, not a day less. Thank you.
I recognize Senator Jaira Sebastian.
Good day, Mr. President, members of the Senate, and strangers in the gallery. Mr. President, may I seek your permission to refer to my notes? I would like to express my reservations about the proposed change to increase the legal age of marriage from 16 years to 18 years. While I understand the need to protect the rights of our youth, it is essential to consider the potential ramifications that it has on our community. However, I believe that there are ways to improve the bill to address the concern. Firstly, the bill should include provisions for exceptional circumstances. While we aim to discourage early marriages, there may be situations where a flexible approach is required. These circumstances should be clearly defined in the policy papers, allowing for court approval or local authorities' consent in cases where deemed necessary. This would prevent the bill from being overly restrictive and provide room for practical consideration. Mr. President, it is crucial to implement a comprehensive public awareness campaign about the bill and its intended effects. Communities should be educated on the reason behind the proposed change and the benefits of delaying marriage. Raising awareness can help garner support for the bill and ensure that communities are informed and engaged in the process. Moreover, the bill should establish a support system for at-risk youth. Counseling and educational programs should be readily available to assist young individuals who may be facing social or economic pressures to marry early. By providing these resources, we can better support those who might otherwise be compelled into early marriages. Additionally, collaborations with local leaders, community organizations, and non-governmental organizations is essential. Their active involvement can help bridge the gap between the bill's intent and its practical implementation. By partnering with these stakeholders, we can ensure a more comprehensive and effective approach to addressing child marriages. To conclude, while I have expressed reservations about the bill, I believe that it can be improved to better protect the rights and well-being of our youth while considering the unique circumstances of our communities, incorporating provisions for exceptional circumstances, launching comprehensive awareness campaigns, establishing a support system for at-risk youth, and collaborating with local leaders and organizations can contribute to a more balanced and effective approach. Thank you.
I recognize Senator Miguel Pech.
Thank you, Mr. President. Today, I rise to address a pressing matter. Sorry. Today, I rise to address a pressing matter that concerns the welfare of our youth and the future of our society. It is the question of raising the legal marriage age from 16 to 18. And I will begin to explain why I, for one, fully support this bill. Mr. President, with your permission, may I refer to my notes? Thank you. I'm going to start off with some statistics. According to the mixed reports, about 1 in 5 young women aged 15 to 19 is currently married, and this proportion remains consistent between urban and rural areas. However, the proportion of young men aged 15 to 19 who are currently married is only 1 in 10. Even more concerning, the percentage of women married by the age of 18 has increased drastically over the years. And among currently married women aged 20 to 24, about 1 in 6 is married to a man who is at least 10 years older. And this percentage is even higher in urban areas. The proposal to raise the legal marriage age to 18 is firmly grounded in child protection. These statistics from the mix highlight the vulnerabilities our youth face. And by setting the age of marriage at 18, we can better protect them from exploitation and abuse. Sorry. We must make the best interests of the child a top priority, as stated in Article 3 of the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child. Furthermore, we must emphasize the importance of ensuring that individuals can give informed and voluntary consent to marriage. Marriage is a significant life commitment that should be made with a full understanding of its implications. The statistics indicate a trend of increasing levels of marriage by age 15 and 18 among men, underscoring the need to empower our youth with a better understanding of the gravity of their decisions. By raising the marriage age, we promote personal autonomy and responsible choices, aligning with Article 3 of the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child. In addition to child protection and autonomy, this proposed change can be viewed as a step toward gender equity. Early and forced marriages disproportionately affect young girls. By increasing the marriage age, we take a significant step towards reducing the likelihood of such practices. We aim to level the playing field, ensuring that our young women have an equal opportunity to pursue education, careers, and personal growth, free from the shackles of early and forced unions. And as Article 4 of the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child mandates, that governments must promote and protect children's rights. In conclusion, the decision to raise the legal marriage age from 16 to 18 is quite a complex issue, intertwining numerous social, cultural, legal, and ethical considerations. Child protection, consent and autonomy, and gender equity are just a few of the many factors that we must weigh as we contemplate this move. Our youth are our future, and it is our duty to protect and empower them. Raising the marriage age to 18 is a vital step towards ensuring their well-being, their autonomy, and their equal rights. This, my fellow senators, is why I, for one, fully support this bill. Thank you.
I recognize Senator Fernanda Castillo.
Good day, Mr. President. May I refer to my notes? Child marriage is a global issue that affects the life of millions of children, particularly girls, each year. Recognizing the needs to address this critical problem, a provision of child marriage bill has been introduced, sparking a significant debate in our society. In Belize, the prevalence of child marriage for those under 15 is 6%, and for those under 18 is 34%. As you can see, Belize has made a significant progress in reducing early child marriage. Child marriage often deprive minors of their rights, education, health, and a fulfilling childhood. By prohibiting child marriage, we ensure that children have the opportunity to grow up in a nurturing environment and conducive to their development. Proponents of the bill emphasize the physical and mental health risks associated with child marriage. Each year, pregnancy can lead Early pregnancy can lead to higher rates of maternal and infant mortality. By prohibiting child marriage, we protect the health and well-being of young girls, reducing burden on healthcare system. Supporters of the bill argue that child marriage perpetuates gender inequality. It often leads to girls being subjected to the will of older men, perpetuating a cycle of disempowerment. By prohibiting child marriage, we take a significant step towards achieving gender equality. Those in favor of the bill argue that it provides a clear legal framework for authorities to act against child marriage, making it easier to protect vulnerable children. It can also serve as a deterrent, discouraging individuals from engaging in child marriage. The prohibition of child marriage bill debate is a complex and emotional charged issue that touches upon children's rights, health, gender equality, and cultural tradition. While both supporters and opponents have valid points, the primary objective should be to protect the well-being and rights of children. The challenges lies in finding a balance between addressing those concerns while respecting cultures and religious diversities, ensuring that the law is effectively enforced, and supporting broader initiatives. This is why 18 is a reasonable age that we can agree upon. Thank you.
I recognize Senator Brandon Yusigeri.
Good day to everyone. Mr. President, may I refer to my notes? Thank you. Today, I stand before you all to argue why the legal age should not be 18 and instead it should be raised up to 21. I will present my case with statistics, logistics, and real-life examples, all pointing to the importance of raising the legal age of marriage to 21. First and foremost, let's consider the statistics. According to UNICEF, child marriage is a global issue that has dire consequences for the individuals involved and society as a whole. In Belize, the prevalence of child marriage is very alarming. A UNICEF report from 2021 states that 29% of girls are married before they turn 18. These statistics demonstrate a significant problem in our country that needs immediate attention. By setting the legal age of marriage at 21, Belize can take a significant step in reducing child marriage rates and protecting its youth population. Logistically, raising the legal marriage age to 21 makes sense for various reasons. 16 to 18-year-olds may not possess the emotional and psychological maturity required to make a lifelong commitment like marriage. Marriage is not just a social contract, but a legal one, involving complex rights and responsibilities. At 21, individuals are more likely to have a better understanding of the implications of marriage and be better equipped to make informed decisions about their future. Let's look at some real-life examples to illustrate the consequences of early marriage. 16 to 18-year-olds are still focusing on their education and personal development. Marriage at this age often leads to early pregnancies, which can disrupt their education and limit their future opportunities. This can result in a cycle of poverty that affects not only the young couple, but also their potential children. Raising the legal marriage age to 21 can help break this cycle and allow young people to complete their education, pursue their careers, and be more prepared for marriage. In conclusion, raising the legal age of marriage to 21 is not only supported by compelling statistics, but also makes logistical sense and is reinforced by real-life examples. This change is essential to protect rights, education, and well-being of young individuals in Belize. By setting the legal age of marriage at 21, Belize can take a crucial step towards a brighter, more secure future for its youth and the nation as a whole. Thank you.
I recognize Senator Claire Alamia.
Good day, Mr. President. May I refer to my notes? Society is undergoing a great deal of change today as a result of the Marriage Person Protection Act, Chapter 175 of the laws of Belize. It has been proposed that the legal age of marriage change from 16 to 18 years. This is a new and interesting issue that needs to and will be addressed. Currently, 16 and 17-year-olds can marry with appropriate parental authorization, and if one or both applicants are Belizean, there's only a $50 fine. At 16 years old, by law, you are considered an infant, young person, or a child, or of school age. A high school student who by law cannot consume alcohol, cannot take part in voting, cannot acquire a driver's license, or legally operate a motor vehicle, but by law can be old enough to marry. Marriage cannot be taken lightly. It is a union and an institution that brings a man and a woman together spiritually, emotionally, physically, and financially to create a family. A significant undertaking that not only builds families, but also put communities and strong unions together. A 16-year-old is still a minor, a child. One cannot expect a child to carry the burden and the responsibilities of marriage, as well as the social and emotional weight it carries. In Belize, 1 in 5 girls and 1 in 10 boys are already in marriage. According to UNICEF, this has a tremendous repercussion of the physical, emotional, educational, health, and livelihood, and opportunities of both girls and boys, with girls being the hardest hit. Girls who are married as children are more likely to be out of school, suffer domestic violence, poverty, and contract HIV/AIDS, with higher risk of morbidity and mortality due to complications during pregnancy and childbirth. While you may still be considered a teenager at 18, you are much more mature in the regard, and by law, you are considered an adult. It is my opinion that the legal age of marriage should be changed from 18 years, the legal age of an adult. Making the decision to commit your life with someone is a decision left for 2 consenting adults. At 18 years old, a young person is more likely to have completed high school and may have entered higher education. This allows for more employment opportunities, higher maturity levels, and a better understanding of the world around them. There is no doubt that a person under the age of 18 is still a work in progress, still growing and changing into the adult they will eventually become. I find myself and others to have a narrow yet evolving sense of who we are, who we want to become, and how we change to navigate limitedly in our communities, at home, and at school. We thrive under the watchful eyes of our parents and guardians, our teachers, religious leaders, and our community leaders, and our laws, which safeguards us from the violence, abuse, and the like. Give us the time to grow into strong contributors of our Belizean society. Let us save marriage for adults and let children be children. Thank you.
I recognize Senator Richard Martinez.
Thank you, Mr. President, for giving me the floor. May I refer to my notes, please? Mr. President, honorable members of the Senate, as we gather here to discuss the pressing issue of child marriage, I stand proudly to declare that I sincerely agree that the legal age of marriage be altered from the age of 16 to 18 years old. While traditional marriage is denoted as a binding covenant between 2 consenting adults, what happens when this binding covenant is officiated between our youth? Besides, there is much more to marriage than just saying, I do. Our children are not yet mature enough to fathom the financial implications that coincide with making such a pivotal decision. Furthermore, child marriage is primarily associated with the departure of students, particularly females who are belittled and seen as inferior to males. What is important to recognize is that this matter does not only influence inequality, But due to a lack of education, it renders our country not being able to produce many skillful and highly qualified individuals to acquire jobs that will not only contribute to the growth of our economy, but ultimately satisfy the demands of the Belizean people. Belize, as we know it, has one of the highest records of child marriage and early unions in the Caribbean, ranking at just second place in the entire region. Additionally, data that was compiled from the Multiple Indicator Cluster Survey revealed that Belize is home to approximately 38,000 child brides, 8,100 of which were married before the tender age of 15. These numbers are alarming, considering Belize possesses a predominantly young population with approximately 171,723, that's 42% of our people, falling below the age of 18. It goes to show that the continuous decriminalization of child marriage hinders the legitimacy of children's rights, rights that were put in place to safeguard the children of our country as they will proceed to become the custodians of our future. Therefore, it is crucial to take the necessary procedures to combat the issue of child unions, including the various factors that encompasses this matter. Nonetheless, when the conversation of marriage surfaces, we must also dwell on the cost of supporting a family. This may include healthcare expenses, property costs, household commodities, as well as children. If the young family is unable to sustain themselves financially, the entire family may be susceptible to poverty. Studies conducted by UNICEF and the Statistical Institute of Belize has shown that almost half the population of our children endures some sort of poverty, ranging beyond just financial hardship. I conclude by declaring that I stand in full support of this motion, a motion that has the utmost best intentions for the children of today and the leaders of a prosperous tomorrow. Thank you.
I recognize Senator Clarissa Heredia.
Good day, Mr. President, my fellow senators, and my fellow viewers. Today, I rise on behalf of Belize non-governmental organization in the support of this bill. Mr. President, with your permission, may I refer to my notes? As the leader of government business has outlined, this bill would outlaw child marriage for those persons under the age of 18. From the outset, I want to underscore the letter of the law is one thing, having it embraced nationally, whether through community buy-in or active enforcement, is quite the other. So we assert, Mr. President, that bringing out change via legislation will make a difference, but meaningful change on the ground, in homes and communities, will have everything to do with progressive mindsets, better access to education, and by empowering women in having greater influence in family-making decisions. I believe all of us can think of multiple instances where girls are involved in formal and informal relationships, living as husband and wife. I lament to underscore that many of those relationships meet the threshold of statutory rape under existing laws. We also highlight that early relationships of this nature have shown to have serious impact to both of the physical and mental health of girls, including but not limited to complicated pregnancies and difficulties during delivery that often threaten the survival of both the children and the mother. The mental health impact is multi-layered. Girls often experience isolation from family and friends and a sense of their childhood being robbed, which negatively impacts their mental health. It is also documented that girls who marry young are most likely to endure domestic violence and are less likely to continue their education. This translates to poorer economic and health outcomes than their unmarried counterpartners, which are eventually passed down to their own children, putting a strain on the country's ability to offer excellent health and education services. As consenting adults, women 18 and older will formally recognize a half of legal partnership. This recognition of standing is critical to improving a woman's financial stability as she continues her academic career, braves the workplace, or assumes child rearing and household responsibilities. As evidenced by current realities, teenage mothers are often single mothers, struggling to complete school while serving a primary caregiver to their children. Research shows Belize fatherlessness rates to be a whopping 80%. The rate is contributing factor to a wide range of social illness plaguing our country today. It is also well documented that mature mindsets enable better problem solving. While maturity varies from individual to individual and differs across genders, with age comes greater knowledge. And with experience comes a greater grasp of how to collaborate to achieve common goals, resolve conflict, and manage stress. Committed relationships require work, compromise, and commitment, trust and understanding. By gaining more experience, mature adults can realize and recognize the difficulties that health conditions can provide and have a better grasp on patience and compassion. But ultimately, Mr. President, what are we really talking about today is having a right and word into what you decide for your future. We all have the responsibility to ensure that no girl or young woman feels forced or doesn't have a voice in the decision to marry or not to marry at 18 or older for that matter. As the agenda says, we only have one life, YOLO. You only live once. We all should have the right to explore, to experience, before we have any long-term permanent decision like marriage. We therefore take this opportunity to offer an amendment to this bill by the committee of the whole Senate. By law, all Belizeans must obtain a license to drive, a license to be a tour guide, a license to fish. Why shouldn't we mandate that marriage license once conditions are met, such completion of the Senate-sponsored courses in marriage counseling, sexual health education, and parenting tips? Strong homes make strong communities, and strong communities make a stronger nation. Thank you.
I recognize Senator Janae Riverol.
Thank you and good morning, Mr. President, fellow members of the Senate, viewers in the gallery, and media. Protocol being established, I stand here today to discuss the proposed bill that aims to raise the legal age of marriage in Belize from 16 to 18. This bill isn't just about a number, it is about the declaration of our dedication to the well-being and future success of our Belizean youths. Mr. President, may I refer to my notes? Currently, 34% of citizens are getting married before the age of 18, necessitating this legislative shift. Scientifically, at 16, the brain is not fully developed, potentially impacting a person's ability to make a significant life-altering decision. Waiting until the age of 18 allows for greater cognitive and emotional maturity. Adolescence, particularly at 16, is a pivotal period for self-discovery and growth. By marrying at this age, young individuals might miss essential life experiences and lessons needed for their personal development. Waiting until the age of 18 provides individuals with more time to develop emotional intelligence and a better understanding of relationships. It grants them the space to evolve and mature, setting a more solid foundation for future commitments, including marriage. At 18, many individuals are more likely to have completed a significant amount of their education. This education is not just a diploma. It is a gateway to pursuing a career and achieving financial stability. offering them the independence and resources to make informed decisions about their life. Notably, this change would particularly benefit girls in rural areas where the patriarchal norms often lead to girls getting married at the age of 16 without completing their education. By waiting until 18 to marry, girls have the opportunity to complete a larger percent of their education. This has the potential to significantly increase literacy, broaden job prospects, and enhance life choices for these young women. Raising the legal age of marriage to 18 effectively prevents child marriages, which can have detrimental consequences on the well-being of minors, particularly young women. Child marriages often result in curtailing education, limiting economic opportunities, and increasing the vulnerability of young women to exploitation and abuse. Marital relationships involving minors are particularly susceptible to domestic abuse, as these individuals often lack the emotional and financial independence to escape such situations. Delaying marriage until 18 provides youth with more agency to recognize and leave abusive relationships if they arise. Physiologically, the reproductive system, vital for pregnancy and childbirth, continues to mature well beyond the age of 16. Research indicates that before the age of 18, a young woman's body might not be fully prepared for this life-changing decision. Early pregnancies, especially in adolescents, carries heightened risk of complications to both the mother and baby. The psychological and emotional readiness for the responsibility of motherhood and the strains of a marital relationship are also crucial considerations. Raising the legal age of marriage from 16 to 18 acknowledges these physiological and emotional complexities, aiming to protect the health and well-being of both young women and potential children, promoting better overall societal health and stability. I must conclude that raising the legal age of marriage to 18 is not just about imposing restrictions, but about nurturing an environment where our young citizens can grow, develop, and contribute meaningfully to our society. By aligning with international standards, particularly the Convention on the Rights of a Child, we reinforce Belize's commitment to human rights. Raising the legal age to 18 will mitigate these risks and provide an environment for our youth to flourish. Supporting this change sends a powerful message about Belize's commitment to eradicating early and forced marriages globally. The aim is to change child marriage from 16 to 18 for the betterment of our nation. Mr. President, do you really think teen marriage is an option? Thank you.
I recognize Senator Lisani Castillo.
Good morning, Mr. President. May I refer to my notes? The topic for this bill is an interesting topic. I believe that no child should be taken away from their childhood years and not be able to enjoy their young years. I am in total agreement that the age of marriage should be changed to 18 years. While we do understand that early marriage might be a way of economic burden in some families or a matter of survival whereby parents exchange money for their sons or daughters and commit them into early marriage should be unacceptable. Someone who is 16 is still an immature child. Early marriage leads to physical and psychological problems, having high risk pregnancy, emotional distress, and loss of responsibility. They don't really understand how much responsibility it will take for them to enter into marriage. An adolescent at 16 years old should be attending school and trying to figure out what they want to do for their future. A 16-year-old will miss out on so many opportunities in their life, especially when it comes to education. On the other hand, someone who is 18 years old has a more mature level of understanding of the commitment and responsibilities of being married. By then, they have already either graduated high school, probably attending a college or university, or learning a career to sustain financially. On the contrary, someone who is 16 is just learning about basic needs, responsibilities, and decision making. Getting married is a huge responsibility, and at 16 years old, consequences we can face under the law if a teenager decides he or she wants to disregard the marriage. In addition, there is a religious trend whereby you can get married at a very young age with people much older. An example would be the Mayan culture. In the deep areas of Belize, there are some villages that still follow the old traditions such as getting married at a young age. Sometimes the girls get sent off to be married don't even reach their teenage years yet and are committed to early marriage. When this happens, the child can be abused or exposed to even become part of human trafficking. Although times are evolving, some traditional beliefs aren't. But I still believe that even so, the age should be changed to 18 years, as 2 years is a lot of time and so much can happen during the transition of 16 to 18 years. At the age of 16, we are just beginning to explore the world and becoming a more mature individual. In early marriage, you can miss out on so many opportunities that come your way just because of marriage and having a huge responsibility that you aren't ready for. Additionally, getting married and having a child at such a young age can limit your personal growth and development. It may mess with the ability to pursue higher education, explore career opportunities, and discover your own passions and interests. The weight of these responsibilities can be overwhelming and prevent them from fully experiencing what the world has to offer. Getting married and having a child can limit your ability to explore different career paths or pursue higher education, hindering their long-term prospects and potential for success. It is crucial for young people to have the freedom to grow and discover themselves before taking on such a big responsibility.
I recognize Senator Soleiman.
Mr. President, I move that the next question be put.
Honorable members, the question is that the bill for an act to provide for the child prohibition of solemnization of child marriages and to provide for matters connected therewith or incidental thereto be read a second time. All those in favor kindly say aye. Those against kindly say no. I think the ayes have it.
Bill for an act to provide for the prohibition of solemnization of child marriages and to provide for matters connected therewith or incidental thereto. Committee of the Whole Senate on Bill.
Honorable members, in accordance with Standing Order 54, the Senate will now resolve itself into the Committee of the Whole Senate to consider the bill that was read a second time. Honorable members, I will now take the chair as the chairperson of the Committee of the Whole Senate.
Mr. President, I rise to report that the Committee of the Whole Senate has considered the Prohibition of Child Marriage Bill 2023 and passed it without amendment. I now move that the bill be read a third time.
Honorable members, the question is that the bill for an act to provide for the child prohibition of solemnization of child marriages and to provide for matters connected therewith or incidental thereto be read a third time. All those in favor kindly say aye. Aye. Those against kindly say no. I think the ayes have it.
Bill for an act to provide for the prohibition of solemnization of child marriages and to provide for matters connected therewith or incidental thereto.
I recognize the leader of government business.
Mr. President, I move that the Senate now do adjourn.
Honorable members, the question is that the Senate do now adjourn. All those in favor kindly say aye. Aye. Those against kindly say no. I think the ayes have it. The Senate now stands adjourned.